Hi guys, good morning. Welcome to Live, Love, Bend 30-day challenge. Today on the group, I'm just going to be taking over for a little bit to talk about supplements. So firstly, I'd like to say a big thank you to Charlotte Holstead for inviting me on to talk today. You may have heard that she did have her baby yesterday. So if you saw that on Facebook, it's so exciting. So welcome to baby Arlo. So that's so exciting that we've got a new baby. So that's all fabulous, and she, understand she's doing really well. So it's just me taking over today to talk about supplements. So what I'm going to do is run through some questions that we've had about supplements for your flexibility, supplements for post workout, and also for pre-workout as well. So we talk about things that you can include alongside the nutrition that you have in your day-to-day life to really support your training needs. So I'm going to run through. If you have any questions afterwards, what you can do is contact me and ask some questions and message them afterwards to me. So that's absolutely fine. So let me just start by introducing myself. So my name's Amie Richmond and I'm a nutritionist by trade. So I work at a company called Body Fabulous. If you want to look me up, the website is mybodyfabulous.co.uk. So at Body Fabulous, what we do is we work with amateurs and professional athletes in order to provide nutrition plans and also to look at supplement regimes. So sometimes in our diet, we're not quite getting what we need in order to hit certain goals. And it's really important to remember that every single person is different, okay? So there might well be people that are watching this that think, okay, I've got to have a multivitamin every day. And depending on your diet, it's not necessarily true. So if you have a good balanced diet, you should be getting everything you need in your diet anyway. But there are times when we need a little bit more, and especially when we're pushing ourselves with training regimes. And some of you I know are really working hard on this splits challenge, really pushing your hips and your flexibility to the max, and therefore we really need to look at ways that we can support your body so that you can achieve these challenges and really work with that. Okay, so that's me. I work in Salisbury in Wiltshire, so I know that some of you are from all over the place and not local. I'm actually not far from where Charlotte is based herself. So down in Wiltshire, I do see people one-to-one. That is obviously ideally how you would support an athlete or amateur athlete in achieving their goals, because we're all different, as I say, and everybody's diet is different, people's habits are different, and people's requirements are different. So this is generalized advice. I would say if you've got any health issues, that you always seek additional advice and support so that you can make sure that there aren't any contraindications to your medications as well. So really important if you are taking certain medications, just to be on the safe side and double check first. Okay, again, if you have any questions, you can come back to me afterwards. So where I'm going to start with supplements is actually why we're even taking them in the first place, because if you're like me, when I first started out training, I had like a drawer of supplements, and every time I would read an article or a magazine piece on something, I think, oh, I need to get this. This is totally going to transform my my supplements and my training regime. And of course, if you take a tablet every 3 days when you remember it, at the wrong time of the day and with the wrong foods, and you're not absorbing it properly, you are actually just weeing out a lot of those amino acids and a lot of those vitamins and minerals anyway. So it's really important, just like with nutrition, that supplements, when they're needed, that A, you take them regularly, but B, you go for quality as well. So it's just like food. There's no point having a really great day and having 3 terrible days in terms of your intake of quality of food. So with your supplements, if you decide, yes, I need this in my training regime, then you need to find a good quality supplement and then stick to it. Okay, so I say to people, try and keep it by the kettle or out where you can see it visually, so that you're really motivated to take that supplement every day, and sometimes they're several times a day as well. So really think about where you can put them, that you're going to make sure that you take them into your diet every day, because it's consistency that makes a difference, and that's where you start to see, oh, muscle definition coming, and really revealing that six-pack that you've worked so hard to achieve. It's actually just shedding that last bit of fat or making those muscles really, really pop, and that takes consistency. Just like with your training, it takes consistency with your supplements, so do remember that. And whilst I'm on the subject, it's really important, let's say you do have a drawer like this at home full of supplements, and some of them I might talk about today and you'll think, oh, that's brilliant, I already have that one. Make sure you understand why you're taking it. Again, sometimes you read something and you buy a supplement and it's been in the drawer for a little while. First of all, check expiry dates. They do go off and they won't be as effective if they're out of date. But also it's really important to know what you're taking. I always feel this about food, and I feel the same way about supplements. If you can tell me why you've started taking vitamin C, great. If you understand what it does for you, great. Don't just take it because you've read that somebody else has benefited from it, okay? Again, you don't want to waste loads of money on supplements either. You want to get quality and you want to get the ones that you need. So first of all, have a look what you've got, go through and decide what needs binning and what's out of date, and then decide and read at the back of the packets the ones that you've got left and what they actually do. So make sure you're clear on it before you start. Then check the quality, okay? Supplements, it's much like saying when people come to me and say, oh, you know, I've eaten this, it's all right, it's got vegetables in it somewhere. And I say, you know, a meal is still a meal, whether you go to McDonald's or other fast food chains, or if you go to Gordon Ramsay's. Technically, it's still food, okay, but very, very different quality, okay? And it's the same in the supplement world. If you can get it at Poundland, if you can get the second one for a penny, really think about what it's cost them to make that, okay? And remember that we want quality. So you will end up spending less overall because you will be just getting the things that you're missing, or perhaps you need a little bit more of, and you will just be getting the quality that's required. So really, really important to go to a good health food shop and ask for their advice on which supplements. I particularly like Lambert's because Lambert's is a professional range. So I've been to the factory, I can see the quality of the supplements. Viridian's also excellent, very ethical business as well. And then you've got people like Solgar as well. There's some really, really good ones out there, but you must make sure that you stick to quality. Okay, so once you've got quality down and you're looking at what you've got left, you now need to have a look at your goals, okay? So really important to have a look. If when you're doing some of these challenges, and you're working on your flexibility, you're in pain, we need to deal with that first. So there's lots of supplements that we can, that we'll discuss in a second, that are going to work on reducing inflammation in the body. Sometimes when you're pushing your training level to this extent, you're practically sat at a desk all day and then you're running to the gym and doing 2 to 3 hours, you are inflaming a lot of your muscles if you haven't warmed them up properly and if you haven't given your body the right nutrition during the day before that workout, okay? So you don't want to end up with aches and pains and joint issues as you age. So it's really important to look at your goals, okay? So when you're choosing supplements, you've got to say, right, the most important thing for me is that I get my flexibility to a stage where this doesn't hurt. Or it might be that you don't have any aches and pains, your flexibility is really good, but perhaps it's your stamina that you're really struggling with. So for the first 20 minutes of your workout, you're smashing it, and then all of a sudden you hit this wall and you're really flagging, so we need to work on stamina. You might find that you're all right during your workout, and then at the end of it, you are just wrecked, okay? So your post-workout needs more support because you shouldn't be hitting a wall like that. So we're looking to make sure that you're staying quite even. And again, so when you start off and you're looking at your supplements, what you have, what you might need, really important to look at your goals there. Do you want to burn fat? Do you want to build muscle? Do you want to do both? Are you perhaps overtraining? So again, if you are training every single day of the week, you are putting your body under a lot of pressure. So we're not going to go too much into that today, so I want to stay focused on supplements, but do make sure you can take all the supplements in the world you like, but if you're training 7 days a week, you're not giving your body a rest day, you are going to find that your body starts to struggle and you have some issues. So again, look at your day, look at how you're based. Some of you will be professional, so you will be out there and you will be training every single day or 5 to 7 days a week, and you will be taking this to a level of your day where it's pretty much all of your day is about your nutrition and how you train. Others of you, this will be a hobby and it's just something you want to do and achieve, and that's fantastic as well. But if you have been sat at a desk all day and then you're asking yourself to perform to these kind of levels, you really need to look at your nutrition intake again. Today we're not going to talk about food, but it's very important. If you sat all day and had a beige diet, you will be missing a lot of those micronutrients. So again, if you have a very good balanced diet, you're getting fruits and vegetables and loads of different quality macros and micronutrients into your diet, then you won't need some of these supplements. If your diet is really quite beige and sandwiches and crisps and chocolate bars and running to the, you are going to need more help with your supplementation until you've addressed your diet. Okay, so you are making life more expensive for yourself. So start with the food. Don't forget, nature gives us pretty much everything we need, and then supplement the bits that perhaps are missing. Okay, so we're going to start off with things for flexibility now, and these are sort of my top supplements. Again, we don't have long this morning, and I don't want to bore you too much with going on about millions of different supplements. It's a lot of information sometimes to take on board. Again, everybody's at a different stage, but my absolute top recommendation is actually omega-3. Okay, so unlike a multivitamin, I don't recommend that unless you absolutely need it. And very rarely do I find anybody needs a multi. What they might be missing is perhaps B12 because their energy levels are low, or they might find that their mood's quite low, in which case vitamin D would be more suitable for them. So rather than taking a little bit of everything and feeling like you've perhaps just done a coverall and hit all your bases, I find that rather than focus on multivitamins, but looking at something like omega-3 quality fats is essential. Okay, so that's almost my go-to supplement when it comes to flexibility and training. All my top athletes take omega-3, bar none. So omega-3 really helps. If you think about it, it's like oiling from the inside out. So we'd often put nice face creams on or body creams on to make sure that our skin stays hydrated from the outside. Omega-3 is doing the job from the inside. So what it's working on is your organs and your joints and making sure that they're well oiled and moving and not so stiff and rigid. So if you have any issues where you are particularly stiff, aching and sore, you really want to go a nice high dose of omega-3. So 1,300, even higher than that, milligrams a day. If you just want a maintenance dose, then anywhere between 800 and 1,000 milligrams a day for omega-3, just to have good fats in your body and overall good health. It's one of the most essential fats that we can have, so really important to start with omega-3. The other one I'm going to suggest, if you are suffering with any of these flexibility issues which have caused you to be really stiff and rigid and perhaps you're not quite getting into the splits, is turmeric. Okay, so turmeric as a supplement is absolutely amazing. The difference that you notice when you start on a turmeric supplement is incredible, because what turmeric is doing is reducing inflammation in the body. It's just easing off all that stiffness, all the red inflamed joints. When you're really pushing your training and you're really working hard, you're putting your body under a lot of stress. So really think about including turmeric. The nice thing is everything that I'm going to recommend is natural. So I'm a holistic nutritionist as well as a clinical nutritionist, but the reason why I love going back to nature and not putting in too many artificial things into your body is because I've seen it work so well. You'd often have to go quite high dose, okay? So rather than taking steroids from the GP or getting anti-inflammation tablets, really look at starting with something as basic as turmeric. Okay, you can get the turmeric root and just pop it in a hot water and let it steep and drink from that. You can get it in a powdered form, which you can add to your food, tastes a bit curried, or you can just get it in a capsule and take it as a supplement. So for turmeric, we're looking at 10,000 milligrams a day. Okay, so quite a big shot. But if you are suffering with any of those issues, as I say, real stiffness, real inflammation, perhaps lower back, hips, you really need to get onto turmeric. So I think that will help a lot. The other thing that's great for joint issues is glucosamine. I prefer glucosamine complete, which means that it is already mixed with chondroitin and quercetin. So what you're doing is you're getting a complete overall anti-inflammatory, but also you're getting the oils directly to the joints. So if you are more heading towards maybe more of an arthritic pain, if you suffer with things like fibromyalgia, where the pain tends to be more joint ridden, not always, sometimes it's widespread, but glucosamine is really, really good at getting into that. So achy knees, hips, things like that, you really want to add just a little bit more. So you've got turmeric for your overall, and then you want to add just that little touch more if you are suffering, and then you want to look at glucosamine. In terms of adding to that naturally, again, you don't have to supplement everything. You can add coconut oil, and I really do mean you can just literally, not necessarily just cook in it, but you can add coconut oil to your coffee. You can just eat it off the spoon. It really is that simple. And it might seem a bit gross because you're thinking, oh God, that's really high fats, and I'm working on, you know, loads of protein in my diet, but actually fats are essential in your diet for growing muscle and repair and supporting the growth of protein in your body. So you really need those good quality fats. So about a teaspoon a day. So if you're going to cook with it or just put it in a hot drink, that's absolutely fine. Coconut water is also excellent. So coconut water is allowing for a lot of your muscle repair as well. So you're getting potassium and magnesium in that as well, which is essential for your flexibility and training goals as well. So make sure that you include those kind of micronutrients. When we talk about macros, again, some of you, this will be really obvious stuff, but macronutrients are our main nutrients. So we're talking about proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. When I refer to micronutrients, I'm talking about the vitamins and the minerals that we need in order to support energy on a cellular basis. So we need these minerals like potassium and magnesium in our systems in order to be able to train to this level. So if you feel that you're struggling, you can buy potassium and magnesium supplements. MagAbsorb is one that I sell a lot of. A number of athletes do take MagAbsorb, particularly good if you're having sleep issues as well. So magnesium would be a good one. But don't forget, you can get this in nature as well. So you can actually drink coconut water, have bananas, cucumbers, and consume these potassiums and magnesiums as well. So if you don't want to be sat there chomping away at loads of food, supplementation is just a quicker, easier way. And when you look at how supplements work, the idea is those minerals, vitamins, and micronutrients are taken straight into the bloodstream and released straight into your system. So they're very efficient ways of getting these amounts into your body. If you had to eat thousands of grams of milligrams of vitamin C, for example, you would be eating quite a few oranges and citrus fruits in order to do that. That's a lot of volume of food. So the idea is you take those dosages and you get it in a capsule form or even a powdered form, and it's just a more efficient way of doing it. So all these supplements are available in foods. I don't want you to think you all have to rush out and buy these foods, but it's really, really important to know that you can supplement these really well as well. So those are the top ones that I would have for flexibility. When it comes to amino acids, we talk about that quite a lot when we're looking at flexibility. A lot of you are pole athletes and indeed yogis as well, and people that are working on their flexibility and training. So amino acids are a really, really important part of this as well. So in terms of a generalized amino acid. BCAAs, so that's your branch chain amino acids, are probably your go-to. Again, you may have heard of these, you may already be on them. Everybody in this group is at a different stage in their journey. So, so for some of you may never have heard of BCAAs before. BCAAs are fantastic at being able to take them throughout the day. So what you're doing is you're letting those amino acids work on growth and repair and muscle growth throughout the day, okay? So it tends to be that you space out those dosages in terms of supplementation, and you take BCAAs throughout the day, maybe up to 3 times a day, okay? So rather than a post or a pre-workout, you would just space that out, so you are gradually building muscle. Again, you go back to your goals, make sure that is what you want, and that if you want to grow muscle, then that would be a great one for you to include. So BCAAs tend to be found in very high protein foods. So what we're doing is we're getting like the big daddies of the protein muscle building, and we're just putting them all into one supplement. So there's 3 main amino acids and BCAAs. And what we do is we then get a nice high quality one, and you're able to look at supplementing your diet like that. So we're looking with BCAAs, if you want to start BCAAs in your diet, 10 to 15 grams. Okay, so depending on where you are, so some of you will be men with a much higher muscle mass and body weight, so you need to go the top end of that. The average female training about 10 grams. Okay, so have a look at that. So what else do you need for pre-workout? So you've got your flexibility now, you're working on your reducing inflammation, you may be taking BCAAs to really start working on your muscle mass. What do you need to start a pre-workout? I, as a holistic practitioner, I'm not keen on things like grenades or other things are available in terms of really supersetting your training regime. I prefer to start with something called L-arginine. So when you're looking at L-arginine, which is another amino acid, what it does in the body naturally is dilates the blood vessels. Okay, so what you're looking at is good flow through your vascular health. So when you're dilating your blood vessels, you are able to get that bit more of a pump and a rush. Also, the oxygen is traveling around your body a lot better as well. So L-arginine would be a great one to look at for a good improved blood flow. Also good for fat burning. So again, go back to your goals. If you're already super lean, you might and you've worked out your body fat ratio already, and you really don't want to look at too much more body fat loss, then you don't want to go too high on your L-arginine either. So a good dose would be about 2,000 milligrams a day. If you are really looking to push yourself, you can go up to 4,000 milligrams a day. So depending on what your training goals are, depending on how long you have, maybe you're going to do a competition. So maybe you have a time that you need to get to in order to hit your goal and your deadline. So if nearer 2 weeks before an event, you need to step up your pace, you're not quite where you need to be, then you can go up to 4,000 milligrams a day of L-arginine. And that will naturally, as an amino acid, support your blood flow, give you that bit of a push, and also work on fat burning as well. So that would be a really good one to put in pre-workout. One of my favorite post-workout, going back to pre-workout and saying, you know, no, I don't like too many of these artificially sweetened pre-workouts. And again, if you take a pre-workout, I want you to read the back of that packet of whatever you take. And if you don't understand what's put in that product, then you know that it's very chemically based, artificial, and will be doing perhaps more harm than good in the long run. Okay, so you may feel really pumped and get through your workout really quickly, but there can be a lot of health damage down the line for people using these very aggressive pre-workouts. So really have a look at that. One of my favorite pre-workouts is just caffeine, okay? So what I would recommend is 1 hour before training, you get a really good quality organic coffee and you use that as your pre-workout, okay? So rather than anything artificial, that you look at something like as basic as caffeine, but it needs to be a really good quality, and you don't want to spend the rest of the day chugging coffee. In large quantities, caffeine again can be quite an irritant to the system, but you do want to make sure you're getting a bit of a boost for your training. So try caffeine for that pre-workout, and then you've got your BCAAs during the day, you've got your L-arginine. So what are you going to do post-workout? So post-workout, all we talk about really is protein, isn't it? And everyone's walking around the gym with a protein shake. You think, oh, I should probably have one of those. Again, I really want you to look at the protein shake that perhaps you're using already and make sure you understand everything inside it. If you can see that there are added sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, a lot of added sugars, stabilizers, you really need to think about that, what's going into your body. Okay, so we really want to look at pure, ideally even vegan protein powders. The idea of a protein powder is that it will go into your system really quickly and give you that protein you need. So rather than having to sit there and eat 3 chicken breasts, you can then drink the protein that you're required to have to build muscle. Again, this is about building muscle. So how do you work out how much protein you're going to need? So the ideal scenario is a gram for your body weight. So let's say you are about 10.5 stone as an example, so around 150 pounds. So what you would do is you would split that out, let's say 30 grams of protein over 5 meals. Okay, so you can do that much more efficiently with a protein shake, or you can work out your protein in terms of the food that you're taking in. The protein shakes, and again, I'm not going to go into a huge amount of protein shakes now because that's a whole nother topic, but they are really useful when you're training at the level that some of you are. So I recommend things like pea protein. I like a good basic natural hemp is really good as well. You want to make sure they're soya, egg, and dairy free. Whey proteins, very efficient, but so many of the people that have come to see me for assistance with their training end up being dairy intolerant. Okay, so if you have some sort of IBS issues, there's no way you want to be on a pole when you're feeling like you really urgently need to get to the toilet. So if you feel that your workout is affected by your gut health, then I really want you to have a look at taking whey out of your protein powders and then going for a vegan powder, so not based on a whey protein, which is a derivative from the milk industry. So really have a think about that. So yeah, so work on getting your dosage right, so how many grams you're going to need depending on your own body weight, and then make sure that you definitely are not intolerant to any of the dairy products that might be in it. If you feel that you might be, make sure you go to a vegan powder. So post-workout, yeah, you really want to look at protein. You also want to look at another amino acid, which we haven't yet touched on, which is L-glutamine. So L-glutamine, you really want maybe 5 to 10 grams of glutamine. Ideal, again, going back to the IBS style issues, if you do have some gut health issues, that particular amino acid is fantastic. So not only are you building muscle, it's particularly good for people that like heavy training. So if you're doing like yoga poses and you are working on quite a more gentle stretching, you probably don't need this in your supplement regime. If you are lifting a lot heavier and you're doing a huge amount of body weight exercises or flags that require a huge amount of core strength, then that is L-glutamine would be a good amino acid for you to add to your supplement regime. Again, 5 to 10 milligrams would be ideal in order to, grams, in order to be able to support your training goals, and that would depend on your weight. But if you are a lighter female, you want to stick to more like 5 grams. Heavier or carrying more muscle mass, you can go up to 10 grams. So great for heavier trainers, also great for those people that are suffering a little bit with gut health issues as well. Okay, so that takes me to the end of my half an hour with you. I can't believe it, it's just like flown by. There's so many other supplements out there, but those are the ones that I really recommend. So go back and watch this again, think about, okay, do I need flexibility? Am I looking at my omega-3s? Do I need to reduce inflammation? I need to get on that turmeric and that glucosamine? Do I need to improve my amino acid intake for stamina? Or do I need to just work on the quality of the protein powders that I'm putting in terms of muscle mass? So I hope that that's given you just a little bit of some clarification on some of the products we use. There's so many more. Again, if you want to come and see me in the clinic, I'm at mybodyfabulous.co.uk. And so you can look me up online and come in and see me. If you're not local, you can buy any of these supplements from my website. So if you go onto the shop page, you can have them delivered anywhere in the world. So if you want to give some of these supplements a go and you feel that turmeric might make the difference, or omega-3s, or some of the amino acids. I know we're out of stock of BCAAs at the moment, but they'll be back in next week. Then have a look. I only do the professional quality range. But if you are going to go to your health food store and buy some of these today, then please make sure that you go for quality, okay, over price. So I really hope you found that useful. Anybody that wants to ping me and ask any individual questions, please feel free. And again, massive congratulations to Charlotte and new baby, and catch up with you soon. So thank you for having me.